y'all. It's about that time. It is Sunday, July the 10th, 2022. Welcome to the Zodiac Chatline. I am your host, Tennah, and always, I got my Cancer Queen, Cassie, with me in the building. What up? What up?
Not much. I'm rocking a bigger the hair, the closer to the goddess thing today. So.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, black. Won't she do it?
How are you this weekend?
We need all that goddess energy right now as much as we can. You know what? I'm all right. I am definitely feeling Cancer season. My Cancer rising is feeling Cancer season, and I'll leave it like that. But I mean, this always brings a smile to my face.
Facts, big facts.
It's literally the only enlightenment after listening to what's happening everywhere else around me.
Yeah,
So.
You know what? I know you were out of town, out of the city this weekend, and I got to drop out for a day. If anyone in the chat has the opportunity to drop out for a little while, let me tell you, 10 out of 10 recommend.
Listen, put my phone on Do Not Disturb, y'all. I'm telling you what, it's cool. Listen,
those 186 emails will be there tomorrow.
They sure will. They sure will. And 12 might get answered. But So, guys, we are really in the swing of Cancer season. And as Cassie and I talked about, there is a full moon coming up this week. But right now, we are in our feelings and talking about them because the sun and Mercury are in Cancer. The moon is in Sagittarius, a little spicy, just before it heads right on into Capricorn. So we'll take this little spicy energy now, but prepping for Wednesday. And we have Mars taking its time in Taurus, but it's still chilling in Uranus. And it's always going to be in the North Node for a while because, the Taurus-Scorpio axis, which... our guest tonight, we're going to talk about that for her. And we have Venus in fun little flirty Gemini. So, again, don't take it too seriously, but whatever, stay out your feelings. And Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto are also retrograde. Saturn in Aquarius, Neptune in Pisces, and Pluto in Capricorn. So again, for a while, the man's going to have to feel it because they ain't doing what they supposed to do, and we got to let them know.
Mm-hmm. Facts. I was thinking about this too, other than the moon, because she's coming up into Capricorn, but we've got like our personal planets all hanging out in the summer, having a good time, and our outer planets are like, hey, fuck you. I'm going to make you do some real winter season work, okay? Some internal struggling with your boundaries.
Work at its best right now, especially in those particular placements, especially Saturn in Aquarius. Mm-hmm. That's a definitely challenge the status quo, challenge the authority in an unpredictable way. Neptune retrograde in Pisces, let's go with those illusions. And Pluto in Capricorn is just major transformation of any kind of structures that don't work. Gotta be Goldie.
You gotta be grateful for the rudeness too. It's all part of the process, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, it is rude. It's very rude. But it is what it is. So let's talk about Wednesday's sexy giant full moon in Capricorn.
So you gonna say sexy, huh? That's what we gonna call it. Go ahead, girl. I'm gonna let you go ahead. I'm gonna let you lead on this sexy.
The full moon is always sexy, in my opinion. It doesn't matter what sign she is. Okay, so in Capricorn, the moon is in fall. That's right, yeah, or detriment. Because it's in dominion in Cancer. So it's in detriment in Capricorn. Moral of the story is it's in one of the two places it really doesn't like to be. So a full moon in Capricorn, first of all, is a good time to check in with whatever was on your mind at the new moon in Capricorn, which happened on January 2nd of this year. I actually intended to, before this chat, go back and look at my grimoire to see what I was up to for that.
I know. Now I got to think about planning this show. But
I was going to say we were right. Yeah, we had just started doing this show.
Oh my God! Whoa!
Yeah, we hadn't even had our first guest yet. Anyway, I digress. But so go back, look at that, see where you are now. Kind of assess. But in general, the moon is on the Cancer Capricorn axis. And so it's an emotional moon. Even though Capricorn is not an emotional sign, she is. Spoiler alert. And it's gonna be deep. It's gonna probably hit a lot of people in their structures, boundaries, authority feels.
It could be a work feel too. Capricorn does rule like career sometimes and ambition. So
yeah,
I would say brace yourselves, not for anything terrible, but it's not one of those like fun
last month I recommended go out.
Yeah.
Icy for the full moon in Sagittarius.
Yeah.
This time stay home. Rachel, have a nice quiet birthday.
Yeah. Write a new budget. Write a new budget. You know, call your dad.
With Pluto out in Capricorn also going retrograde, I do think it's a good time to really like check in with what are your like internal, you know, okay, like, you know how sometimes you have a deep feeling of like, oh, I'm uneasy, or I don't have, I don't know, some things. Like check in with your deepest boundaries and what's, you know, what's really buried under there. And if you can bear to face it, you know, do that. Let it go if it no longer serves you. You should be letting stuff go at the full moon. So
even if you can't bear to face it, the Capricorn full moon really don't care. So just kind of go with it. And it's actually the only really big transition that's happening this week in the stars. And so at least we don't have a lot to weigh it on. But, you know, if you're feeling it, you feel it. It's temporary, you know, it's not, emotions
shall pass.
Emotions aren't permanent, even though it always feels like they are. But guys, it'll be fine. We're here for you. We'll talk about it next week, but
that's right.
For today, we're going to do some Cancer Sync and check in.
Yes,
celebrity
check-in.
All right, because I know our guest is itching to get rid, but she'll have to hold on for just a moment longer. Oh my God, I love everybody. Look, we got everybody in here. Hey, Everett. All right, so Cassie and I decided for our Cancer celebrity check-in, we have picked some Cancers and we're gonna give them their due. One who shall not be named doesn't get it because he sucks. But anyways, go ahead. You start first, Cassie.
So I'm going to start with, you know, one of my favorite icy rappers, Sweetie. She just had her birthday, I think July 3rd. And I loved it. It felt very quintessential Cancer to me. She's posting all these pictures of her birthday and she's super sexy and it's all these white balloons. No guests, just her. I'm like, I love you. That's a very Cancer.
I'm the star of my own show. Why not?
Your birthday, you're like, I don't fucking feel like being around any of you. Good girl, get in your show. I love it.
I am here for it.
But I saw her throw out a ceremonial first pitch at a Dodgers game, and it was real cute. She had insanely long nails and still managed to like fucking
make it to the plate.
Pitch.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Hey. So yeah, good on you, sweetie. I love your stuff.
All right. So my person, I'm going to pick this one first. You know, we really knew her as a mean girl, but now she has moved past childhood stardom and really tried to make a name for herself. We gotta talk about Lilo, aka Lindsay Lohan. She has newly married Bader Shamas. Sorry if I'm messing up his name. Yeah. But she's newly married. It looks like she has kind of evolved beyond all the other things. And so I'm actually it's really nice to see a childhood actress star kind of grow up and be able to leave all of that, you know, turmoil behind. Cause, you know, a lot with her mom and her dad, you know, they had their own issues. So good job, Lindsay. We love to see it. We love to see it for you.
Rooting for you, Lilo. Yeah, hell yeah. So Ariana Grande, another late June Cancer like myself. She's, you know, what do you call that? A guilty pleasure of mine is Ariana Grande. I think she's a very talented, you know, singer. I know that she's like any other pop star is a bit of a culture vulture. You know what I mean? Taken from whatever. But she's very cute. I'm making hella money off her REM beauty line, and eternally looks like she's 18 years old, and she's like 31 or 29 or so. I mean, she's old enough to have aged one day, but she hasn't. So congratulations on finding the fountain of youth, or I don't know, whatever, sucking the blood of virgins. Really good LA cocaine. I'm not sure. Some combination thereof.
Okay. Switching gears. But similar, another Disney.
They're like besties.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give a shout out to this lovely lady who is working with some comedic greats right now, and they are on season 2 of their show. Shout out to Selena Gomez, who is now working with Martin Short and Steve Martin on Only Murders in the Building. That was weird. They are on the building. They are in season 2. Highly recommended. Not that we promote anything on the show, but Selena Gomez is living her best life, having like moved from kind of on from a lot of her Justin Bieber days, and has kind of progressed from all of that. So we love a Selena Gomez. We love a Disney glow up. Both of them. Disney kid glow up.
For sure. Do you have another Cancer season celeb?
I do, but we don't have to use her. It's not.
No, it's okay. I have one more too. So I didn't want to be like doing the most. Shannon Sharp,
whatever.
My last Cancer season celeb. I stan a 80s, 90s football king, and a high vibrational Cancer man. That is a rare commodity. So shout out to you for that. But he went viral last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, with a speech. I think it wasn't a speech per se, but he was speaking on, I think, an ESPN panel about rights and why, people are just fighting to have the same rights that a white man has. Why is that a question? Why do we have to make people of color, make people who have uteruses, make anyone who doesn't identify as a white, straight Christian man fight just to have human rights in this country? So I stand Shannon Sharp speaking out. My favorite
line, he was like, they not asking for more rights, they just asking for equal rights. And I was like, my man, that's what I'm talking about. And, all right, so so
gotta be Goldie is 100% correct. They are mostly trash, as we spoke about a week ago. But anyway, we're not talking about that one.
No, we won't. He should not be named continuously. The last one I have is, she married a Jonas brother. Can you believe that shit? But Priyanka Chopra, her and Nick just were seen out and about with their new 6-month-old baby. So they are living their best Cancer Virgo life as a cute little couple, May-December romance. But I kind of stand their love, their relationship, and Priyanka Chopra is just absolutely gorgeous. And she is a Cancer woman through and through, loving motherhood, living through motherhood. So we love her.
So if they have a 6-month-old, their baby's probably a Capricorn?
That was my guess. The baby was born in January. I think I didn't look up the date, but it said January. My guess was a Capricorn. It is a little girl. So that would be a very interesting energy to have in the house. Probably better than an Aquarius between those two, but we'll see what happens.
Either one. A Cancer mom is, not to toot my own horn here, but we're into being a mom, right? Like that's part of our thing. So we enjoy it, and I'm sure she will love the shit out of her Capricorn or Aquarius child. But it does feel like a Capricorn girl would give her a run for her money.
Absolutely. So with that said, and the flip, Cass and I are super excited to have our next guest come on. This amazing human I met continuously randomly through the company that we work for, and one of my coworkers and her are kind of related by marriage and all that other stuff. But aside from that, because that's not really who she is one of the funniest people I've ever met. She is one of the sweetest people, and we are so excited to talk to her. Jamaica, we about to bring her on the show. Jamaica is a Taurus sun, an Aquarius moon, and Libra rising. Pretty. Hey, look. Hey.
Hey, cute.
So,
Hey.
hey. Look at her. Yes.
Oh my God.
Look, she got her little fan
Big Taurus
crew.
energy.
Man, cut that bull out. I'm just
Oh
playing.
my God.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here.
So, what do you know about just being a Taurus? Like, what do you know about that?
I know that we're pretty stubborn, like set in our ways, right? Hard to change. Like, change doesn't come easy for a Taurus. That's very accurate for me. It's very hard. We like stability, like groundedness, like that's important to us. So those are some things that resonate with me about being a Taurus, for sure.
How would you feel if none of that was working in your favor?
It would feel like, yes, it's not working in my favor. It's so funny because, like, literally my vision board in 2022, like, I have a big, like, 3 words, go for it now, because I'm like, I literally, like, I can plan into an action, right? Like, it's like, it's so hard for me to, like, make a change or take a leap. And, like, I'm trying to get away from that Taurus energy. But I love being a Taurus, but I'm trying to, like, bring in some new energy.
We actually gonna cut real quick to that, take a leap real quick, because you brought it up.
Okay, yes.
So again, guys, we will reiterate, Jamaica is a Taurus sun, Aquarius moon, and a Libra rising. But what we both noticed is that you have 0 fire energy in your chart. And I wanted to know, when are you spontaneous?
Very rarely. Like, even today, like, when we were talking earlier, like on the pre-call, I was like, I wish they could just give me all the questions they're gonna ask me so I can, like, prepare. Spontaneity is pretty hard for me, right? Like, even things that are spontaneous, like, it requires some pre-planning on my end. So, yeah.
What happens if somebody surprises you with something? Like, do you remember the last time somebody was like, I'm taking you to do this, or like something like that?
I don't like surprises at all. Like, I'm the person, my friends know this, right? Like, I'll, like, if I'm watching a movie, I'll, like, Google what's going on.
Wait, I will never watch a movie with you ever again.
Like, you know when people say, oh, I don't want to tell you the ending because it'll spoil it? No, tell me. I like that. Like,
oh
yeah,
my God.
Yeah,
this
it's hard.
Hilarious.
Like, I hate surprises. Like, it's, no.
Okay, that tracks. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been told you were inflexible?
Probably by my husband. Probably told me that a couple times. But it's weird because, like, I'm inflexible about some things, but I also am a person, like, I can go with the flow, I think. But, yeah, I feel like I have been told that.
Okay. It's just, you have a lot of, like, you know, Cassie and I had discussed earlier, like, you're very much a Taurus, very much earth energy. That is how you function, is very much like, this is what it is, and it's going to be very difficult for it to be something else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. Yes. I'm working on that, though. Yeah.
You do have the advantage with a Libra rising, and we spoke to Janelle about this a little bit, and I think we kind of went into the most depth with it with Chelsea, who was one of our guests a couple months ago, who also is a Libra rising and a Taurus sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that when you're a Libra rising, you have the advantage of, I say it's an advantage because I think everything is always also its opposite. And it's helpful if you know that at the beginning of life, but it takes us till the end of life to realize that like all those things that were horrible at the time were lessons that, you know, turned us into a better direction, et cetera, et cetera. But Libra risings have the advantage of rising on the opposite side of the zodiac of where they should be. So all of the energy of their houses is kind of flipped on its head, which I think is a little bit of a plus, especially for somebody with a lot of fixed energy and a lot of earth energy, because you realize that even though you don't want things to change, even though that you want to control every detail and you want things to stay the same, you also fundamentally know they will.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of, like you said, you think you can go with the flow, right? So you're a little bit more prepared than maybe somebody who had like if you were a Scorpio rising, let's say, somebody who had another like very intense, stubborn placement at the top of their chart. You're a little better able to incorporate like, maybe this isn't the way I think it is, you know, type of energy. So that's a good thing. So with that, we'll talk a little bit about your other two big threes, because I know you on the pre-call you said you were really familiar with the Taurus stuff, but not so much Aquarius moon and Libra rising. So since I've already been talking about your rising sign, I'll continue. Your rising sign is kind of the way, some astrologers consider it like really your most personal aspect. And it's why you have to know your birth time, because it changes every couple of hours during the day. And it's the sign that was rising on the horizon at the moment you were born, and kind of like the way you greet the world almost. If not it doesn't necessarily have to be a mask you wear, but just kind of like how you shine out into the world, how you rise into the world. And as a Libra rising, you very much, people I'm sure are drawn to you because Libras have the gift of being able to make other people feel heard. They genuinely want one-on-one interaction with people, and they love to receive somebody else's energy and give that back to them, and find a great balance between listening and speaking. And they're very beautiful. It's ruled, just like Taurus, by the planet Venus. So it's hot girl energy all around.
Yes.
And they have a great eye for beauty. Libra, anybody with prominent Libra placements will have a beautiful home. They're very interested in how they appear, very taken in by aesthetics. I think Libra is probably Libra suns, Libra moons risk being the type of people that get taken advantage of. They can be duped easily by people who present as one way and aren't another. Scorpios Taurus is not fooled by that bullshit.
I'm in between. Like,
yeah.
I can catch a vibe, but I definitely am a person that, like, if I love you deeply, like, I'll allow a little line step here and there. And maybe I'm not so tight on those boundaries. But if I don't love you like deeply, then it's like, okay, like, no. It's not. But yeah, it's just, that's interesting. This all resonates so much with me. This Libra rising, like, I literally like am the person in the bathroom, like at the club, that like makes my friends sometimes don't like it because they're like, why do you always like find people? Like, you don't
people find you. You don't find people.
Yes.
They be like, oh, she look like the girl we should go talk to.
So that track, that makes sense for sure.
And Tennah, what about the Aquarius moon?
Well, okay, so the Aquarius moon is actually a pretty good placement, because the Aquarius moon is a very feeling moon, but it allows itself to detach from the feelings. So they're there, but it doesn't get so absorbed in the feelings as maybe a Cancer moon would, or a Leo moon, or even a Pisces moon would get completely absorbed in their feelings. An Aquarius moon is a very deep feeling one, but the vibe is a lot more like, I feel you, but I'm feeling you from back here. I'm not gonna be all up in that. So I think that that's a very healthy and strong placement for you, because the Taurus feels so much without people ever realizing it. And the Aquarius gives you a little bit more detachment from it. But again, it's more fixed energy. So you're kind of like, if you feel how you feel, you feel how you feel. Can't nobody really change that. And it is what it is until you feel like saying, oh, okay, well, I see why but it's not a very heavy placement, and yours is also in the 5th house. And again, as Cassie said before, everything's flipped. So technically the 5th house is ruled by Leo, and it's supposed to be, creative expression, and it's more like childlike energy. And that's very difficult, I think, sometimes for an Aquarius moon, because it's a universal love. You know what I mean? It's a friendship. It's a humanity love. It's not necessarily honed into one thing. But you good, Carl.
You're so funny. All of that makes so much sense. Like, literally, like, that kind of having lots of feels, but being able to kind of, like, step away and be more analytical a little bit about those feels.
That's exactly what it is.
That, like, I definitely think, like, I'm good at, and it's definitely, like, helped me a lot in just, like, some of the things that I've had to deal with, like, Tennah knows, like, losing my mom in 2015, like, I think if I wasn't able to do that, like, I don't know if I would be this happy person today that I am.
So since you brought that up, we're going to circle around to that.
Okay.
For one thing, I am so sorry for your loss. You and I do have that in common, along with having 8th house energy. And you have 8th house energy and 4th house energy. And the other part of that trifecta is 12th house energy. You don't have that, but those are the 3 what they call mystic houses. And those are also all the water houses. So the 4th house is normally ruled by Cancer. The 8th house is normally ruled by Scorpio. For you, you have your 4th house have Capricorn in it, and your 8th house has Taurus in it. So they're in houses that these signs don't normally function comfortably in. And even though Tauruses understand depth, they're not necessarily trying to go that deep. For you, you have your Sun, your Mercury, and your Venus all in the 8th house in Taurus, which means a lot of deep, keyword as always, and this is for me to you, from somebody that completely understands, transformation will always be a part of your life. And a lot of the transformation will happen not on your own accord. It will be based on something or someone else's. Something else will happen, and then you have to kind of adjust and accept it however you do, and then you are reborn into another person. And it's like, with the loss of your mother, like, you were Jamaica up until that point, and then when she passed away, like, you had to now be a different Jamaica.
Oh my God.
Do you know what I mean?
Read it all the way.
And the other part that a lot of people find scary about the 8th house is it is about death and regeneration and loss. And one of the questions I have for you is, how has loss and transformation shown up in your life? Because usually when you have a loss, it's necessary because you need something to transform. And the best way I can put it, especially with the loss of a mother and with that 8th house energy, is as much as nobody wants to experience that. Cassie has also lost a parent, but nobody wants to experience that loss. But the more you go through it, the more you realize, like, I know this was for my best good. It just really sucks.
Yeah. This yes. Okay. Like, I think about, like, the death of my mom all the time. Like, and when you said, like, I was Jamaica up until that point, and then you had to be Jamaica after, like, that is exactly what happened. And like, I think it was, like, the worst moment, but it also, like, helped me become just, like, a more, like, self-assured woman, like, more confident in who I am. Because, like, I think my mom, she was teaching me, like, how to be this person and how to be this woman. But, like, I relied on her a lot, right? Like, so it was like, I would always be like, Mom, is this right? Like, like, lacked a little bit of that self-confidence. And I think when that's ripped away, like, you just gotta own it. Like, there's no mom to, like, call and say, hey, is this right? So you just gotta figure it out. So I think, like, from that moment forward, like I definitely just like kind of, I don't know, like stepped in a little bit into like womanhood and
You
just,
were forced to do something that you didn't even know you were ready for. And
yeah.
that's what eighth house energy does. It forces you to change and transform
Mhm.
through loss.
Ah,
And so
it-
you will be one of those people that people will be able to come to because you understand loss and you're much more empathetic to it, because you understand it, not that you want to understand it.
wow.
And personally, I don't either. But
Renee, you
but
don't even know. I haven't even talked to you about this,
I
but
know, I know.
my grandfather actually is in home hospice care right now. It's
Oh, I'm
like
sorry.
final days kind of thing. And I've literally been over there just like with my grandma, just like spending so much time with her. And like, I don't know, it just feels like it's so sad, but it definitely feels like a place where like I feel comfortable like comforting her, right? Like I'm there and I'm like trying to like talk her through and like just be there for my family and everything like that. And of course, sometimes it gets hard to be that person, but it does feel like I don't know, like I'm prepared to do that. And
You
that's
will,
Mm.
and
my
it's you're going to continue experiencing it.
God.
That's
Wow.
just the thing about eighth house. It's a heavier
Yeah.
placement for especially your sun, and then you have your Venus
Venus.
and Mercury there, and so the Mercury part is like get you really inquisitive,
Mm-hmm.
or and it does get you kind of interested in that. I would also encourage you to kind of work on your psychic gifts because eighth house energy does also have psychic gifts. You just have to tap into them. And
I like that.
this also kind of goes into your north node, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But the eighth house definitely allows you to be a very compassionate person when it comes to death.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I have experienced it a lot in my life throughout with my family and throughout having friends that have experienced it for the first time and me being able to be a friend to support them. So like you're right where you're supposed to be with your grandma. You know what I mean? And as much as we all, you know, death is a part of all of our lives. Like none of us are getting out of here alive, right? And
Yeah.
so it's like learning the beautifulness of what that means because death is actually just transition. It's not an ending.
Yeah.
And the best part about what I really grew to understand about my mother's passing was that it allowed me to be the woman that I was supposed to be because I couldn't do it with her here. She had given me as much as she could, and she is much better on the other side. So I encourage you to talk to your mom, even though I do see your mom has a shrine on your Instagram, which I think is beautiful and it's amazing.
Oh.
But you know, always talk to her because, you know, our moms and as Black women, like the attachment is different, and not
Yeah.
having her as, you know, you're now a full adult, like really kind of going through, just know that like you are continuing to learn and grow, and you will not be the same person again. You know, you're always going to transform. And the best part about eighth house energy is you are allowed to rebirth into something that other people don't recognize because it's for you, it's not for them.
Whew.
I think my favorite thing about eighth house energy is I feel like it is a place people who have strong eighth house energy are able to heal ancestral traumas. It's also the house of legacy and future generations. So the like even when you talk about speaking with your grandma, I mean what great work as far as legacy, being connected to your own past, your own ancestry, and like how will you be able to give that gift back forward, and what will you pay forward into your lineage, and no doubt incredible things, right? Just being in touch with that and staying in touch with your history and your ancestors is a guarantee to, you know, put them forward into the universe. But man, heavy stuff to deal with. And you have all of that Taurus eighth house energy opposite Pluto in Scorpio, which is its home sign, in your second house, which is normally ruled by Taurus, but of course everything's flip-flopped in your chart. And Pluto is
I'm
the
so
planet.
extra long.
Yeah. Pluto is the planet of transformation. So it just underscores this sort of axis of transformation, right? Like, and all of us I think I would say one of the advantages of losing your parent as a younger person is, few advantages, right? Is you do realize that at the end of the day, it's on you, right?
Yeah.
Like everything is, we're all born into the world alone and we all go out the same way. Like, it's not cute. It's not a great feeling, but it's true. And so you're able to weather the storm of the highs and lows because you recognize that tragedy is a stopping point on the way to joy, and joy is a stopping point on the way to tragedy. The key is to not dwell in the good times thinking that something bad is right around the corner, because I know I'm guilty of that. I don't speak for anyone else.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys are reading me. I love this. This is
and you're taking notes, aren't you?
I see you jotting it down.
I love it. See, listen. She's taking notes. She like, I ain't trying to forget none of this.
right, exactly.
What have you learned about working through difficult emotions?
Whew. I think like what I've learned is that like you kind of have to like do what feels right to you, right? Like my thing is like I've gotten better at like if I'm having a shitty day and I'm crying and upset about my mom, like I'm just gonna lean into that, right? Like I'm going to have this shitty day. I'm going to cry. I'm going to talk about her. I'm going to be a mess. I'm going to post a million pictures on Instagram. And it just is what it is. Like, I feel like I'm less willing to put on like that face, right? Like, like, oh, everything is perfect. When you're dealing with a difficult time, it's okay to call a thing a thing. It's okay to say like, this shit is hard. It's not easy. You know what I mean? But I think the benefit of going through something so tragic is like, I know, like you said, like, I know on the other side of that, like, I'm going to be able to like smile and be happy again. And like, I'll get through it. But yeah, like in the moment, I'm going to feel it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Do what I need to do to feel good about.
Yeah.
myself.
Every day is not a sad day. It is nothing you get over. It's what you learn to live with. And like you said, I think that's a really big growth for somebody to lean into the sadness and not fake the funk. Like, oh, I'm all right. No, like you said, some days I'm just like, man, you're just sad. Like you miss her and you're like, dang, why can't I call my mom? Why can't my mom come over and hang out for a minute? Like, and that's a real feeling because that's your mom, you know?
Right. Yeah.
What an enlightened thing for a Taurus to say too. No shade to any Tauruses in the chat, but leaning into actually feeling your feelings. Tauruses have so many. They feel so deeply, but they're like at times just unwilling to let it out. You know, it's let
me say this though. I'm willing to do that alone, right? Like when I'm feeling feels, I have to retreat. I have to be by myself. I'm not gonna be like around a ton of people. Like when I need to feel those feelings. So that's probably the Taurus in me, right? Like I'll feel it. I'll go through it.
Right.
And I'll get through it. But I'll probably say like I just probably won't answer my phone for a couple of days and be like, okay.
Sure. The door is going to be locked. No one is coming in.
Yeah. But I'm going to ugly cry like but
that tracks.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you find it challenging to create a comforting foundation?
Okay. Create a comforting foundation. Okay, explain that a little more. Hold on. Okay.
So you have a lot of Capricorn energy in your fourth house, which is where our foundations are. Capricorn. And so Capricorn isn't necessarily comfortable in the fourth house. It's more comfortable in the 10th house where it's about career and ambition and not necessarily about home. And so, and all of the placements that you have in Capricorn are also retrograde. So a lot of the foundation internally, I think, I'm wondering how you try to find comfort in some sort of internal foundation or external foundation.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard, right? Like for me, it takes work to find like that, like stability. But like once I do, that's why it's hard for me to like switch things up, right? Because once I get to a place where I feel comfortable, like I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to fuck anything up, you know? I'm just trying to keep it good. But yeah, like I can see that. Like, you know, I feel like it's interesting. My parents are great parents, but like they were like Taurus and Aquarius or whatever, and so like it was a little spicy together. But like I feel like yeah, from a young age, it was just kind of hard to like at home. Like I don't know, it just didn't always feel like super, like you said, like solid. Like you know what I mean? Like so I do struggle with that. I think I'm not really sure like what that looks like. Like
that's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
in like a personal way. Like I
Yeah.
think I'm very solid in like work, friendships, those kind of things, like more external things. It's like much harder for like those like real personal internal kind of things. Yeah. That's challenging.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Especially you frame it that way with the sort of internal part of it, because when we have a lot of retrograde planet, or any retrograde planet you look at, its energy is likely to be expressed internally. And the retrograde planets that Tennah was speaking of that you have in Capricorn are Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune. Is that right? And those are
like
those are
well, because I'm a comedian. What? Go ahead, Cassie.
They're tricky energies, frankly. So Saturn is at home in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, but again, not particularly comfortable in the fourth house, where you're supposed to be in a nurturing kind of open, warm, embracey type energy. And Capricorn and Saturn are very much like, how can I put a box around this, right? Like it's all about Saturn is the taskmaster of the zodiac, sets rules. It's often associated with the father figure. And in the fourth house and in retrograde, like to me, it suggests that maybe, it was, the question I had to ask you regarding this was, how do you set boundaries in a household and with your family?
I don't know. I need to learn how to do that.
Because
I think I said it earlier. Like it's easy for me to set boundaries like at work. It's easy for me to set boundaries with like a stranger or like somebody I'm not super close to. Like it's much harder for me to set boundaries with people I love because right, like I feel like what's hard for me is holding people accountable when they cross that boundary because like I love them, right? So I'm like,
yeah,
like I know I set that boundary, but I love you, so like it's fine. Like we'll figure this out. And I think that's where I really struggle. Like that's much harder for me. And I feel like I'm a little bit of like at times I can be like a people pleaser, and especially in my family, like just I'll bend a little bit if I have to just like where I don't have to have too much conflict or whatever. Yeah.
So I would encourage you to finish the thought of I love you and I love me, so I have to hold you accountable for this. Not just like, because it's like, because every point of reference where we've asked you something about like holding boundaries or holding people, you're like, well, but I love them, and like that's great and all, but you have to love you too and hold them accountable to that boundary, because that's how you need to be loved.
Yeah. That's true.
And it gets fuzzy with a Venus in the eighth house. Like it can get fuzzy with boundaries.
And your Venus in Taurus too naturally wants to lean into the loving part of it and less into the boundaries part of it. I think it's also useful to remember that like most adults still have child brains, and children actually need and like the boundaries, right? Like even if in the moment they're mad about the enforcement of it, it makes people feel safe to know where they stand with you and know that you're going to enforce that thing, right? And not only will it of course be beneficial to you because your peace will be intact, but ultimately they will benefit from it too. They'll benefit from seeing I think everybody benefits from seeing people be their best self and then live, you know, in their full truth. And also it shows people why they may need their own boundaries, you know? So it's hard though. And it's hard. It's hard when you, especially when you have lost someone in your family to someone so close to you, because you start to think like, well, what if they're mad at me and then something happens to that? You know what I mean? But you have to be with you every day of your life. So your piece has to be, your mask goes on first, right? Like priority number one.
Yes, definitely.
And family will take your boundaries for granted a lot faster than a stranger will. And it's because usually it's like, oh, it's family, it's fine, and it's easier to let it slide. But like, those are the ones that you have to be like, because you're gonna grow, resentment grows if there is not a boundary. So we're gonna switch to your because I knew
we're way behind.
Oh, we're like super behind, but it's fine. We don't care. This is our fucking show. We're gonna do whatever we want to do.
That's right.
It'll be how it is. Okay. And you're gonna get the full attention like everybody else does.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
So we're gonna talk about your North Node right quick, and then we're gonna roll into your game that we got for you. But so your North Node, we talk about this for everyone that is now listening that has never seen our show. Hey, Aussie, you got your friends in the chat. So what we talk about when we say North Node, the North Node is your destiny. It is where your soul wants to go to. So we all come into this, our souls come in with the very much a set of like tools and traits that we have that make it easy for us to be okay. But our goal is to transform into the complete opposite of what all those traits are. So they're always going from one to the end. They're not necessarily anything to do with your sun or moon. They're usually very different from that. So your karmic path is called the Way of Revelation. And that karmic path starts at what we call the Leo Virgo cusp, which is considered the cusp of exposure. So if you think about a Leo and you think about a Virgo, it's somebody that's like, I see this as, when I see cuspers, I see it as twins. So I see it as they are like the it twins that kind of judge everybody, but try not to judge everybody, but they're the prettiest of everybody. And they also have like the most to say. And they're very much have a way about them. You have to move all the way to what we call the Aquarius Pisces cusp. This is the cusp of sensitivity. And if you think about an Aquarius and a Pisces, it's like the hippies, the chill girls, the like, we are the world vibes. Totally, everybody's accepted. A very different energy from Leo Virgo. So your biggest thing is allowing, as we talked about earlier, your Pisces, your psychic ability, your sensitivity to be your strength, because that's where you really will kind of grow the most. The core lesson for this path is to learn to trust. The goal is to strip away the defenses built up to protect your sensitive nature and reveal who you are to yourself and to the world. Your release is the need to feel superior. The reward is the joy of being yourself. Gifts are observant, sensitive, and diligent. Your pitfalls are prickly, sensitive, and non-sharing. The balance point is safety and risk. And if you think about it, the Leo Virgo, they are the all safety people. And the Aquarius Pisces are like, fuck it. So, I mean, it's an extreme, but that's kind of what that energy is. The suggestion is observe yourself more closely and notice the reasons behind your superior attitudes and judgments of others. Develop a relationship and trust in spirit. And then Peridot is your crystal and gemstone. It reveals the difference between detrimental boundaries that cause an individual to shut out life and healthy boundaries that offer security and ultimately lead to a deep trust in life.
Yes.
The stone affirmation is, I gracefully receive my birthright of success, abundance, and prosperity on all levels.
Yes.
Okay, birthright. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So peridot is actually a really cool green stone. So if you do have a
beautiful.
chance, go get one, wear it as a necklace, a ring, earrings, whatever, something that you can have with it. It's a very good, it's a beautiful stone. But use your psychic ability. If you have a meditation practice, I encourage that. Find your own spirituality practice. I think that working with, going through your grandfather's transition, like, is going to help you again get in touch with spirit again. And spirit is beyond us, right? So it's not something very tangible. It's nothing you can hold on to. It's whatever you feel that is in you to kind of put outward. So find a creative way to get that out.
Yeah, I love that. This is amazing. I love it.
Oh my goodness.
So many notes that I just said.
So those are kind of the messages that we have for you. We're going to slide right on into your game. And we are going to do, are you ready? I want you to be ready. We are going to do your big three. So you're going to have to tell us which one is a Taurus, an Aquarius, or a Libra. And Cassie and I each have 3 sets of Atlanta rappers. You're going to have to tell us which one is each sign. So we're just going to read it. And we're gonna read the sign, and we're gonna give you 3 options for it, and you just tell us which one you think is that. And these are all Atlanta rappers that we have selected.
Okay, what is the sign? Taurus, Aquarius.
You have Taurus, Aquarius, or Libra, and we're only doing. Yes, ma'am. We're only doing sun signs for these. We aren't doing like the moon mixture. We're just doing the sun sign. So we each have a Taurus rapper that's a sun sign. We have an Aquarius rapper, and we have a Libra rapper, but we've each picked different ones.
Okay, let's go.
All right, Cassie, lead it off.
All right, I'll start us off. Okay, so in the group, wait, should I tell? No.
However you want to do it, I'll follow your lead.
Okay.
However you want to do it.
So this is for your Aquarius placement. All right, your Aquarius moon. I've got 3 rappers. Who's the Aquarius? Akon, Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz. Audience is allowed to help. The chat.
And you are not allowed to Google.
Okay, say it one more time. My cousin was calling me. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. I get it. You're a popular girl. I understand. All right. So again, we're looking for the Aquarius here. Akon, Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz.
Whew. Okay. An Aquarius. Oh, I think Gucci. That seems like
You think correctly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Black Amigo. Nailed it.
All right. For your Taurus rappers, we have Andre 3000, Big Gip, and Future.
I want to say Andre because like he's the GOAT and I'm a Taurus, so I would just love that connection. I'm just gonna go with him. I don't know if that's right, but we'll go with him.
It is not. Andre is part of Outcast and Aquemini. He is the Gemini in Aquemini.
That's obvious.
Yo, I have never put that together. I was this moment years old when I realized that.
Wow.
Holy shit. Okay.
Thank you
for
dropping the knowledge.
But Big Gip is the Taurus, and he is also your birthday twin.
Oh my God, for real?
Yes, for real, girl.
Well, I mean, I don't really know who he is, but I'm a researcher.
I didn't either. I just saw that he was your birthday twin, and I figured I'd throw it in there. You know?
I love it. I love
that. All right. For your Libra rising, I've got Quavo, Ludacris, or Childish Gambino.
Childish, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go with that intuition. 6th sense, kicking in.
He's giving me that Libra.
Got it. All right. For your Aquarius, we have Lil Wayne, Big Boy, and Killer Mike.
Lil Wayne is an Aquarius. No? Who is it?
Lil Wayne. Oh, it is Big Boy, the other part of Aquemini. He's Aquarius.
Oh my God. What is wrong with me?
The same thing that's wrong with me, my dear, because I
you
also
like spoon fed that to me, and I feel
just
like, what is wrong with me? Okay,
I had to look at my notes, so we just
Lil
talked
Wayne,
about this too.
Lil Wayne, a Libra.
Oh, is it really? Okay, he gives me
Girl,
like,
you should know that. He's another Nick Cannon, but anyway, go ahead.
Oh, facts. Okay. My last one, back to Taurus. I've got T-Boz, Left Eye, or Chili.
oh, T-Boz.
Yes, she is. Left
Big
Eye,
Taurus energy.
R.I.P.
Yes.
Was a Gemini. Chili, Pisces.
Nice. Okay. That's cool.
All right. My last one is Libra. I have Lil Jon, Cardi Playboy, or Jeezy.
Oh, maybe Jeezy.
Jeezy it is.
Yes, crushed it. Absolutely murdered the game.
Great job, Jamaica. Is there
it.
anything you want to promote? Let people know what you got going on.
No, I just want to thank you guys. Like, this is so awesome. Like, literally Sunday evenings, you know, the Sunday scaries start creeping in. You start looking at your calendar. And I know I have a soft space to land with you guys. So I just appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you.
So
That
much.
means so much.
You being here with us. It's
Keeping
such a joy to do this with you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We're going to kick you out, but you are more than welcome to join back.
Yes, please come back.
All
Do
right,
a card pull. Bye. Thank you. I think we should at least answer one question for the people too, because you know what? The Instagram video download thing has not been giving me as much trouble. So I think we can go just a little bit over an hour, but like 5 minutes, not too much.
We got it, Book. Okay. I'll let you take the question.
Okay, all right. This is from TikTok at Jasmine Holland 69. Can you do a chat on grand trines and grand crosses? So, Tennah, can you define a grand trine or a grand cross in someone's chart?
So, a grand trine, correct me if I'm wrong, is when they have all planets and all of the same elements.
Correct. It doesn't have to be all planets, but it would have to be
three planets in the same elements. I would have a grand trine in fire signs.
And they should be, for it to be a true grand trine, within that 10-degree trine, you know, angle aspect. But yes, that's absolutely right. And so grand cross
would be all of the I'm trying to do the math in my head. All the modalities opposing each other. So having all cardinal energy opposing each other, all fixed energy, all mutable energy.
Boom.
Sometimes I forget.
Absolutely crushed it, per usual. So yeah, both are highly potent aspects to have in your chart. A grand trine would be the preferable of the two, right? Because planets that are in the same element harmonize very well together, especially, I would argue, probably in trines even better than when they're in conjunction. Because when you start stacking planets on top of each other, like you have a whole bunch of, you know, in my case, I have a Cancer stellium, right? So I've got like 4 planets right there. It gets to be a lot. It gets to be overdoing it. You know what I mean? And so a grand trine will balance the qualities of that particular element. So if you have an air sign grand trine, you have the advantages of being logical and disconnected, but also charming and conversational, right? All the best of the air sign qualities. You know, if you have a water sign grand trine, you are going to be sensual, dreamy, deep feeling, empathetic, very in tune to your emotions, the emotions of others, in touch with your psychic gifts. Lovely. Grand crosses are hard. They're potent because you know, especially like a cardinal grand cross, which I believe Jasmine, who submitted this question, said she had a cardinal grand cross, can be a highly valuable set of energies, right? If let's say you're trying to be the boss of your own company, it means you have all 4 of the cardinal signs represented. You are somebody who is ready to go, but you also find a lot of internal struggle within yourself as to the best way to handle that. Other people coming into how other people factor into that energy. You don't get the balance that a grand trine offers. In general, in astrology, any of the triangle angles are going to be happy, and any of the 90-degree square looking angles are going to be work. So if you have a grand cross or a grand trine in your chart, those planets are going to be activated really strongly. Look to see if any of them are like your chart ruler or in you know, exaltation or whatever. Like, it should, you know, kind of point you to how best to use that energy. But yeah, it's tricky, you know, especially if you have a grand cross, because you see the struggle of whatever modality it is in, whether it's cardinal, fixed, or mutable. You experience the pitfalls of that particular quality very acutely.
Yes. And each one has their own pitfalls. Very distinctly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a good question. That was from our TikTok crowd, guys. Go over there. We actually got some people talking to us.
We're having
over
fun
there.
on the talk, you guys. It's where the youths are. They're doing great over there. I love them.
You may see us over there a little bit more.
Who knows?
After this for a little bit. You never know.
Right? We hop into this quad.
Yeah, we hop into this quad. So, guys, today we're going to do eternal crystals. Because we like crystals, you know? Wouldn't it be crazy if Peridot was picked?
I know. I just had that same thought. And we have been on a wavelength today.
Girl, I know, right? You and your psychic self. Y'all, Cassie is for real psychic. And it's just, it's fine because, I mean, so am I. But, like, you know, when you're like, damn, really?
Game recognized game.
All damn day, shout it. Ooh, this is a cute one. Cinnabar.
Ooh.
I've never heard of it.
Who even is she?
I don't know, but they say Venus on here.
Yeah, okay.
Business and the sacral chakra. Do you want a career change? Would you like to start a new hobby or own your own business? If you have a thought about starting up a new business or hobby, the Cinnabar card indicates that today is a wonderful day to begin. Have confidence in your abilities and put a wish list out to the universe for whatever you need or want. Spending time creating this list and then imagining how it would feel when those aspects manifest can go a long way to bringing about your hopes and dreams for the future. If you already have a job you love or a successful business, Cinnabar has shown up to let you know that there will be positive new energy and abundance coming for you in your career. Hey, if this doesn't apply to you, it may be time for you to become more persuasive and assertive in your career area. Get more organized so that you can clearly focus on the job at hand. If your job situation has changed and you are no longer working, remember that everything happens for a reason. You may think one door is closing, but other great doors are opening up for you. Well, I feel like with the Capricorn
nice full moon
in Capricorn, we feeling it. Okay, so y'all, that's the tea for today. The little spicy, right? The spicy. It's a nice red. It's nice reddish crystal.
Yeah, right. She's like a red jasper mixed with a carnelian type of energy. I'm here for it.
I'm gonna look it up a little bit more. I'm so curious. Same. I've never actually. This is the first time I've honestly pulled this card out of this deck in the years that I've had this card. Right, this deck. Boom. Crazy. Well, Cassie, this was awesome. Jamaica, thank you so much. Girl. All the lovely people in the chat, thank you for keeping it live. We will see you again next week with another lovely guest. Guys, take care this week. Enjoy your full moon.
Release some old shit.
Yeah, it's the feels. What else? But as always, thank you so much. It's all love.
Peace.